Now, there's a lot of different variables that exist. Why this restriction on what values we could put inside a variable? Why do we have these restrictions? For the restrictions of operations, we'll come back to it, but why this value restriction? Well, let's talk about that. Let me clear the screen a little bit. So if you guys remember, we talked before where everything is basically a sequence of zeros and ones. By putting zeros and ones together, we could pretty much create everything you see on my screen. And there's billions and trillions of these. Just looking at my screen, there's trillions and quadrillions, I don't know how many bits that are there, zeros and ones, that tells us the background is black, that here is white, that here is gray, that there's a letter this. All of these sequences together forms what we see and what we do. Well, the same thing goes for when we want to store some value somewhere. We need to tell the operating system how much space that we require to do this, because when the computer is storing memory, well, it doesn't only have your stuff, it has a lot of other applications and programs and stuff that's running there, right? And all of these things require memory. So when it gives you some memory, let's say this is also used. So let's say it gives you a bit of memory. It gives you this much, this red part here. Well, what would happen when you need more memory? When you need more space, you need more zeros and ones. Well, it can't just go over some other application. The other application and yours will both corrupt. They will destroy each other. So it can't do that. So it'll have to go somewhere else and recopy everything. So one thing it does, when you create those variables, it's going to ask you, what do you want to store in it? If you want to store this or that, I'll give you the specific size for it so that it doesn't need to move things around and the operating system is going to be faster. Okay, this is the general bit of it. There's a bit of stuff I'm not including, but this is good enough. Okay, so basically specifying that it's string as an example, it will figure out how big of a space it should give you. Again, there's a lot of stuff I'm omitting right now. We'll come back to it later. Okay, but this is the importance of specifying what the variable type is, right? Because again, if you guys remember, we did the numbers, right? And these were like this many bits. Let me do it like this. Right? So this is, let's say, as an example, this is 8 bits. Right? Why 8? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? So in this 8 bits, we could keep on turning one of them on to get these other values that we've been getting at. So, right? And we keep on going. So if we keep on turning everything, at some point we're going to reach our maximum. Our maximum being we turn all of those 8 bits on. Right? What would be the value of that? But whatever that value is, this is going to be our maximum. Right? So you'll notice it's something pretty easy as we started here. Actually, let me do a few more to figure out what those maximums are. This is just a little bonus. Obviously, there's all these zeros here I'm skipping on. Just being a bit lazy. Okay. So you'll notice that, let me change colors. You'll notice that when the first bit is turned on, we're at 1. When the second bit is turned on, we're at 2. When the first and the second bit are turned on, right, we're at 3. When the fourth one is turned on, we're at 4. Okay, so it goes into the power of 2. So the next one after that, let me do it over here so it's a bit out of the way. As an example, I'm not going to go too much depth in this, but it's pretty fun. So the first one we said is 1. Second one is 2. 4, it's the power of 2. So 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, and it keeps on going. So if all of these are turned on, well, then you'll just need to add all of these numbers. So you're basically doing 1. Let me do it. 1 plus, gonna try and keep it in a line. It's gonna be a bit hard. Plus 8 plus 16 plus 32 plus 64 plus 128. Do you know this? If you add them all up, it's going to give you 255. How did I do that calculation so fast? I'm not a good mathematician. How did I do the calculation really fast? Well, it's a little trick. It's to the power of 2. So the next number after 128 is the power of 2. It's 256. But over here it's 255. That's because all of these numbers added together is 1 less to the next one. If you add, let's say, all of these numbers, you get 1 plus 2, 3, plus 4, 7. It's 1 less than 8, right? So when it reaches 8, it's the next bit over. So having all of these bits turned on, we have a maximum of 255 numbers that we could do like this, from starting at 0 to 255, right? So this is our limitation that's given to us here. And the same limitation goes for anything else. If this was, let's say, not numbers, it could have been the same thing. A, B, C, D, E, right? And you keep on putting characters until you reach 255. You might not use all of those bits, but you know these specific bits and these specific location is for characters and so forth, so on. And this is why we need to specify our type. So when you use something called, let's say, the inferred type, when you use something like var, name, and let's say Reza again, well, now, based on this initialization, it will determine what the type should be. But there's a bit of issues with that. So for our parts, we're going to try and not use it. I'm not telling you not to ever use it. I'm just telling you not to use it at the low level that we're in right now. We could use it maybe when we reach the end of the semester. All right. So this is for this. I'll see you guys in the next video.